This project took about 3 years to come to fruition. Thomas first came to Australia, as I said, about 3 years ago, and we took him to Melbourne and to Sydney to show him various sites for projects, because we didn't want to do it in a museum, in a gallery. We wanted to find an interesting site, as that was also his wish. And we showed him, both in Sydney and Melbourne, empty warehouse spaces, Art Deco cinemas, churches, even a housing commission complex. To each of those, Thomas said, well, very interesting, but not really for me. So I was getting quite worried after a week of this, because nothing seemed to gel with him. And he was staying in the city and walked past a commercial travelers club on the way to his hotel and back. And he asked one day, what is this? And I frankly said, I don't know, never been inside.
I just had one half of afternoon on my own in the whole program of like being shown around, and walking through I just saw this very eccentric building, and I was wondering what is in there. And so I asked people on the street, and they didn't know. And then I just had the feeling it's part of that whole, complex of like the high rises in the back, but somehow it also like was it completely on its own. And it struck me really as being a leftover of something like a bigger scheme at some point, which is forgotten by now. And in fact it is. It's a commercial travelers club, which nobody really knows what they do or where they are, and who is a club member and everything. So everybody I asked, including John and including people around me, but like nobody knew what they're doing or what it is. And that is of course fantastic. It's like a big white elephant in the room, in the public sphere. Nobody has, nobody sees, even if it's actually so big that you cannot not see it. And then I kind of peeked in. I smuggled myself alongside the front counter, because for 5 minutes there wasn't nobody there, and I just walked up and down the staircase and the corridors, and that was the first encounter with the building. And I thought that would be really cool, a cool little time capsule in the middle of Sydney. I always have like a couple of things on the table, basically, on the imaginary table, and one of them were the Dailies, which I'm working on since 2008, which are basically little kind of observations in the city, or like when you travel, or when you have a telephone at hand, you see something which is a beginning of a narrative, but it's actually still very trivial, and it's nothing, like in a book by Robertson or something, where it never becomes a narrative, but it could be the nucleus of a narrative, or like a poem where you just have like 3 lines and they describe just the door closing, the sound of the door closing in a distant room, and then that's it, and the telephone ringing or something, and then immediately you have a film scene in mind, and all these kind of things were going around in my head. And I thought when I saw this building, it would be fantastic to show that series for the first time here, instead of in a museum space.
I think what's wonderful about the works is that it makes you look around you, and you discover things of beauty which normally you would just pass by.